The Old Man and the Sea, part 38. But I must think, he thought, because it is all I have left. So then you think, aha, see, he's going to think. Yeah, but he's not going to conceptualize life. He's going to think about things, you know? That and baseball. So he has thinking and he has baseball. I wonder how the great DiMaggio would have liked the way I hit him in the brain, the shark, right? It was no great thing, he thought. Any man could do it. But do you think my hands were as great a handicap as the bone spurs? I cannot know. I never had anything wrong with my heel except the time when the stingray stung it when I stepped on him when swimming and paralyzed the lower leg and made the unbearable pain. Think about something cheerful, old man, he said. Every minute now you are closer to home. You sail lighter for the loss of the 40 pounds. He knew quite well the pattern of what could happen when he reached the inner part of the current. But there was nothing to be done now. Yes, there is, he said aloud. I can lash my knife to the butt of one of the oars. You know, so you have the point, right? The opposite part is the butt. So he did that with the tiller under his arm and the sheet of the sail under his foot. Now, he said, I am still an old man, but I am not unarmed. The breeze was fresh now and he sailed on well. He watched only the forward part of the fish and some of his hope returned. It is silly not to hope, he thought. Besides, I believe it is a sin. It is silly not to hope, he thought. Besides, I believe it is a sin. Do not think about sin, he thought. There are enough problems now without sin. And also I have no understanding of it. I have no understanding of it, and I am not sure that I believe in it. Perhaps it was a sin to kill the fish. I suppose it was even though I did it to keep me alive and feed many people. But then everything is a sin. Do not think about sin. It is much too late for that, and there are people who are paid to do it. Let them think about it. Again, you know, there is this kind of theoretical mind coming, you know, and he's rejecting it. Mainly when it is time for action, right? You know, sometimes I can stop and think, well, why am I don't know, recording these videos, you know? Why don't I just, I don't know, teach my students as I have to teach them and, you know, get my money and that's it. Sometimes, of course, we can think like that. But when it's time for action and you know you have to do it, you just do it, all right? And you avoid thinking about those complexities, you know? And this is exactly what the old man is doing, okay? Oh, was it a sin to kill the fish? Yes, maybe it was a sin, but I can guarantee, guys, if a shark comes, he will stop thinking right away and he will do his job, okay? Because he knows, even though he doesn't know how to explain it, he knows it is his job, right? So maybe, yes, oh, what if I weren't a teacher? What if I decided to do this and that, but I should keep it to a minimum? And when time comes for action, I'll go there and I'll do my job because this is what I have to do, my job. Right? Do not think about sin. It is much too late. Too late for that, and there are people who are paid to do it. Let them think about it. You were born to be a fisherman, as the fish was born to be a fish. San Pedro was a fisherman, as was the father of the great DiMaggio. But he liked to think about all things that he was involved in, And since there was nothing to read and he did not have a radio, he thought much and he kept on thinking about sin. You did not kill the fish only to keep alive and to sell for food, he thought. You killed him for pride and because you are a fisherman. You loved him when he was alive, and you loved him after. If you love him, it is not a sin to kill him. Or is it more? Okay? I would like you to think about that. Right? If you love him, it is not a sin to kill him? Or is it more? Okay? Again, let's put this kind of complexity in perspective. The old man is not going to stop his life to think about that, right? Okay. I just took a note here. I must not accept the easy answer, even though I don't know any better. It's interesting because that's what I'm thinking about, what the old man is subconsciously or unconsciously thinking, right? If you love him, it is not a sin to kill him. Yeah, that seems a nice answer. Or is it more of a sin, you know? You think too much, old man, he said aloud. But you enjoyed killing the dentuço, he thought. He lives on the live fish as you do. He is not a scavenger, not just a moving appetite as some sharks are. He is beautiful and noble and knows no fear of anything. I killed him in self-defense, the old man said aloud, and I killed him well. Besides, he thought, everything kills everything else in some way. Fishing kills me exactly as it keeps me alive. The boy keeps me alive, he thought. I must not deceive myself too much. He leaned over the side and pulled loose a piece of the meat of the fish where the shark had cut him. Okay, the big fish he had fished. He chewed it and noticed its quality and its good taste. It was firm and juicy, like meat, but it was not red. There was no stringiness in it, and he knew that it would bring the highest price in the market. But there was no way to keep its sense out of the water, and the old man knew that a very bad time was coming. The breeze was steady. It had backed a little further into the north, and he knew that meant that it would not fall off. The old man looked ahead of him, but he could see no sails, nor could he see the hull, nor the smoke of any ship. There were only the flying fish that went up from his bow, sailing away to either side, and the yellow patches of gulf weed. He could not even see a bird. He had sailed for 2 hours, resting in the stern and sometimes chewing a bit of meat from the marlin, trying to rest and to be strong, when he saw the first of the 2 sharks. "Aye," he said aloud. There's no translation for this word, and perhaps it is just a noise such as a man might make involuntarily, feeling the nail go through his hands and into the wood. Of course, the reference here is Jesus Christ, right? A nail going through your hand and into the wood, you are being crossed here, right? "Galanos," he said aloud. He had seen the second fin now coming up behind the first, and he had identified them as shovel-nosed sharks by the brown triangular fin and the sweeping movements of the tail. They had the sense and were excited, and in the stupidity of their great hunger, they were losing and finding the scent in their excitement. But they were closing all the time. They were getting nearer, right? The old man made the sheet fast and jammed the tiller. Then he took up the oar with the knife lashed to it. He lifted as lightly as he could because his hands rebelled at the pain. Then he opened and closed them on it lightly to loosen them. He closed them firmly so they would take the pain now and would not flinch and watch the sharks come. He could see their wide, flattened, shovel-pointed heads now, and their white-tipped, wide pectoral fins. They were hateful sharks, bad-smelling, scavengers as well as killers. And when they were hungry, they would bite at an oar or the rudder of a boat. It was these sharks that would cut the turtles' legs and flippers off when the turtles were asleep on the surface. And they would hit a man in the water if they were hungry, even if the man had no smell of fish blood nor of fish slime on him.